What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Collecting and Hobbies. And I'm just having a bad day doing these reviews, and for some reason my video editors weren't working. I had to delete a whole bunch of stuff. I deleted my haul video for these. I deleted my initial 2 reviews of these. But as promised, I am reviewing Lord Zed and Kimberly and Hart, known as the Pink Ranger, together as promised. And here's the barcode if you're looking for her, because I know she's very hard to find. 630-509-829-477. Write that down if you need it, if you know how to, if it can help you find it. I've already taken them out of the packaging, which is something I normally don't do, but this one I'm going to have to because I'm running out of space. My phone does not save directly to memory card. Whenever I record a video, it only saves things that you download. Unfortunately, a lot of phones are like that. So, first things first, we're going to review the Wave 1 Lord Zed. And this table is actually at an angle, so it's going to be hard to stand them up. And that's just the hand that I'm dealt today. Let's go over his articulation straight out the gate. He's got, well, as all of them do, there's a ball socket on a hinge. It can go back this much. It can go forward. And he can also dip down his head a little bit. This is a separate piece, I believe, that's glued into the front of his mask and plugged in and glued. And we got butterfly joints. Look at all that motion right there. Just like Marvel Legends, like Spider-Man. Of course, because they're both made by Hasbro. And you can get his arms up to a full T. Now this one is one of those where it is easier to go down and then twist it the other way because it's very stiff and it doesn't want to go up for some reason. A lot of the Rangers are like that, at least on one side or the other. And you got bicep swivel. You got double jointed elbows, like about that much. Amazingly, all these cords, they don't really get in the way. It's just the articulation as far as, I mean, it's nicely articulated. It's just the muscles, the big muscles that get in the way. But he's got ab crunch. That goes down pretty far. Well, that's because of his abdomen joint too, not just the crunching part. You can go back pretty good. He's got the torso swivel. It would go around all the way if the cords weren't in the way. You can do the splits. Kick up, kick kind of backwards, sideways. Sort of in a way. Technically it doesn't, I guess, go back. It just slides that way because of the sculpt right here. So then he's got double jointed knees. And you're not going to get anything more than that because of this unless peel that off. But then see, you still got this touching that. His calf touching his thigh, so it's not going to make any difference anyways. And yeah, as far as I could tell, this part, so you could tell it's just the clear blue plastic and it's painted silver right there. These particular parts are, you can kind of move them around. They're not glued in. That would be really crappy if they were, because you would probably break it a lot. Just moving his joints. Now down here, I think they are glued in because I've tried to pull on them and they don't come out. If given a good yank and it doesn't move. Now, as far as the foot articulation, you can swivel it. That gets out of the way right there for the ankle rocker, and that's about the only way you're going to get this part of the swivel to work for the foot to go back. But then you won't be able to move the foot back because this is in the way. So it's kind of pointless, but it does technically. His foot does technically move forward a little bit and back. It doesn't actually move back because the sculpt is in the way. You'd have to use the ankle articulation, the rocker, to actually move it backwards. And of course, he's also got thigh cut, which the way they sculpted this, they sculpted the armor around it so it doesn't get in the way. So this is actually a glued on piece, I guess, because it looks like it's loose over here. It looks like it, yeah. Somehow, some way they figured out. They put a lot of thought into this. I don't know how they did that, but yeah. Yeah, it's glued onto the front and back, somehow. Yeah. It's, looks like they glued it down and they put trenches in the back of his thighs and pressed it in and glued it all in and made it go around so it doesn't get in the way of the armor. And for the first time ever, this part has come off when I'm moving it around. So that kind of stuff was going to happen probably. The more you take these off, or the more they pop off, the looser they're going to get, unfortunately. This is the way it is. And I think, well, he's got twistable wrists, and they go in and out. Actually, this is not the hand that came on him in the package. I already switched out his hand. He does come with 2 extra hands, and I was watching something to kind of get an idea. Watching his first appearance in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on video just to get an idea, because I know his nails, you can see that they're sculpted in there and they're very long, actually. Those are, so technically they should be painted silver. There's also other parts of his fingers that should be painted silver, on at least the part that I saw in the show. He did not have this part. I don't remember this part being on there in the show. So maybe this part is on there, but it doesn't cover up that much of his, I don't know. Well, if his fingers are splayed out all the way, he would have other parts that needed to be painted silver, basically. I think this is it right here. You can kind of see in the sculpt some more things that kind of look like rings over the first, like this part of his finger right in here. So yeah, I think these might be a little bit too long or a little over exaggerated, but yeah. So other than that, it looks really good. They did not put any kind of wash on here. This is kind of a little bit redder, and the wash that goes throughout, man, you can really make out all these rippling muscles and everything. And the wash does not continue on the back of the figure either, or at least not in the back half, on this upper or right there, or even the back part of his thighs. But the wash is kind of in there everywhere else. So they did a pretty good job painting it. They did it where it counts, basically. So let's look at his head sculpt. This part, yeah, I already said that's just a part of, like a little rubber part that's pressed into and glued into his head. There's his brains. Kind of, I mean, can you imagine if they push like a button on his back and they go bloop, bloop, bloop? You know, they actually move in the TV show. And that'd be kind of cool. But, or kind of gross. I don't know. But, what was I going to say? I mean, we already went over the articulation, but yeah. There's not really anything more to say about this, really, except for, like I already said, it's got a great paint job for the most part. There's a little bit of red there. I don't know why, but for the most part, it's painted really nicely. Painted silver back here. The head, it's got tons of detail. Look at all these. It's basically a skinless person. It's over exaggerated a little bit, maybe, but in some places, but like in here, maybe might be a little, I don't know, but yeah, this guy is a rip. He looked like the Hulk or something. He stands about 7 inches tall with this, and without it, it's about 6¼ inches or so. And that's about it, except for his accessories. He's got a little rubbery, very rubbery, pliable, whatever you want to call it, effects piece. I think this might have been used with Thor at one point in one of those 2-packs or something. Probably from a Marvel Legend, but it was blue before. Now it's red. And here's the staff by itself. It's just a gray piece of plastic. Unfortunately, it does not match the silver, as you can see. But that's probably the most disappointing part about this figure. Even his grow bomb is silver, just like his armor. But it's just not that way with his staff. And the reason I already changed out his hand actually is because I was having a problem getting him into a pose with his staff. So this has a little bit larger grip, so it can hold it in this section a little bit better. And the only way to get him really standing with his staff straight up and down is to bend his arm, like this way. You can't really, it can't be like, like this, because then he's holding it, a different direction, because the wrist articulation over here doesn't go up and down. It goes in and out. So that kind of sucks in a way. But let's go over his other accessory. Here's his grow bomb, where he throws something out and then it just like grows. And he can hold this into his hand perfectly. And it's a really tight grip. It's not going to fall out. See? And you can hold it like this. You can hold it like that. Whichever way you want to put it in there, you can find all sorts of different directions. And it'll still fit into his hand, nice and pretty snug. But it's better with the bomb, the little round part sticking up. That's the easiest way to do it. And he also comes with a fisted hand, in case you want to put the fist on there instead of the claw. And yeah, so these are pretty long pegs, as you can see, but you'll hear a lot of popping and snapping once they actually get all the way in. I don't like to pull them in and out because sometimes it makes them loose, and you can do that when you get yours on your own, I guess. And let's go ahead and move on to the Pink Ranger. Wow. Yeah, because I think overall this guy's probably about a 9 out of 10. His foot articulation could be a little better, I guess. His paint job is about a 9 out of 10. The only major complaint that I have is the staff, because it just doesn't, I wish his hand would go up and down. I wish the staff was chromed out, or silver paint, or, something. You could get a silver paint pen and paint it yourself, but I don't know how well that'll work out because it could potentially be really sticky even after it dries. You have to put some kind of gloss on it, make the paint so it's not sticky. All right, so now let's go over the main event. And both of these actually pack one per case, both the Pink Ranger and Lord Zed. Now this Pink Ranger was sitting at my store that's right up the street from me for about 2 weeks. They were lying to me over and over and over, saying that they didn't have her, because I went up there several times, and believe it or not, the guy who actually got it out for me, he's like, you know what, you've earned it. It's on the house. I'm like, on the house? Like, how on the house? This is like, what? How do you do that? And I mean, is he just going to walk me out to the front of the store and, let me walk out with it? Or is he going to pay for it himself? I don't know what he meant by that, but I was like, I think he would get in trouble, because basically, I guess one of the female managers, I actually know her name, but I'm not going to say it out loud, but evidently she thought it was really cool looking, and I brought it to her attention when I called up there. I said, do you have it? And she told me they had the Red Ranger, and I went up there and bought it. That was my second Power Ranger. The gold one I found first in a neighboring city, when I first heard that they were coming out, that people were finding them at Walgreens. And nobody at that point had actually even found a Pink Ranger. And I was, hoping to be the first, so I could be the first one to review her. And so I went up there, and they scanned it. They said they had 3, but they only actually had 1. But anyway, he went in and got it for me. He said it just been sitting there for a couple of weeks. He scanned it. Nobody bought it. They hadn't had any sales on the UPC or anything. So he said he would give it to me. But I didn't let him give it to me. I just took it up to the register, purchased it, and the funny thing is, the person who rang it up is the one who was lying to me the whole time. She's like, how did you get that? Where did you get that from? And, I got it from a guy that used to work there. He went to school, went to college, and now he came back, and now he's working nights, and he remembered me. He remember I used to come up there and get the Black Series figures, looking for the Hasbro, the 6-inch Obi-Wan Kenobi, the Spirit Ben Kenobi, and the Darth Vader, and I never found those, even though they told me numerous times that they had them, and to come and get them, but they never had them. But anyway, maybe he felt bad because of that. I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad to have her. She does have a few paint issues because I've already looked over it. Like I said, this is actually the 3rd time I reviewed her. I've already got her kind of pre-posed because I'm going to go ahead and show you straight out the gate how to do her bow and arrow, because it kind of looks like the way this hand is sculpted. Here, show you real quick. The way it's so open, it's literally a perfect fit for this part of the bow. And so I thought that was the way you're supposed to do it. But if you look on the Hasbro Pulse website, or even this picture right here, which is not technically real, I don't think, or maybe it's a prototype, because that effects piece is not legit. That's not, as you can see, it's much, much longer. And the Hasbro Pulse website, you can see it better. And that's the actual real thing. If you zoom in, you can actually see defects and stuff on her skirt. And that's the way you're supposed to do it. You just stick the pink thing in between her fingers on her right hand, and you put the bow in her left hand. That's all there is to it. And so let's go ahead and do that real quick. I'll go ahead and show you. It's her fingers. They don't look like they're supposed to hold a bow. I thought you were supposed to put, I'll show you after this, but it's actually perfect for this arrow, and this is kind of warped, I think. It's a little bit warped out of the package. This is very clear, and it's also pink. It's more pink than clear, but I don't know how much shows up on there, because with the bright light it might show like it's clear. But yeah, basically all you do is you stick this between her fingers. I've done it too many times, maybe I've worn it out. And because she was holding on to it very firmly before, and now she's not, and just kind of sliding out. Well, anyway, see there, she's holding it. That's basically it, really. That's it. You know, you aim it towards roughly in the general direction, and that's basically what you're supposed to do to actually achieve that pose, stance, whatever you want to call it. This is very difficult to do. Maybe if I keep, I don't know. See, her fingers are too far spread apart now, and now they don't want to do it. I had it perfect on the second review, but I ran out of space. But anyway, that's how you do it in general. You get the general idea. You're just gonna mess with it yourself and figure it out. It's not an easy thing to do. But see, this particular arrow, I thought it was supposed to go in between her fingers like this, basically. And her other hands, by the way, there's nothing you can do with them as far as arrows go, because one of them is karate chop and the other one's a fist. So there's no fingers or. Another thing that's very different about her, she's the one and only figure in the Power Rangers Lightning Collection that has up and down movement in her wrist. But it is her joint is so thin and tiny, it's like impossible to actually get it to move up or down. Maybe if you pull this out and move it, because it feels like it's going to pull out anyway if you try to move it. But technically the joint is there. You can see it right there. And maybe if you do it sideways. But yeah, it just doesn't want to work. It's too tight. It doesn't work. And I'm just starting to realize this pink doesn't match the upper half of her arm. The pink down here doesn't really match. Doesn't match on her boots technically either. There's a lot of paint issues with this. It's very thin too. You could see that it's coming off right there. But the overall design, the overall look, I think is better than the Bandai's Legacy Collection. It definitely looks more like a more realistic female, for sure. 1,000,000% for sure. But, okay, let's go over this head sculpt real quick while we're still got it on. Does this look like Kimberly? Does it look like Amy Jo Johnson? No, it does not. I'll show you a picture. I'm not going to do the picture-in-picture thing because that thing just takes forever to do and it doesn't do it right and it screws up my videos. So there it is. They got the hair kind of right in a way, but the face is just off. I think her forehead is too big and it's too round, and maybe because of the smile, it's just not. The chin is right about her lips and the chin size are about right, but she's got way too big in dimples because she doesn't have dimples, really. They're flat. Her cheeks are flat. Yeah, this sculpt is just way off. It just doesn't look like her, unfortunately. But this one does. This one's good enough, I would say. Alright, so let's go over her articulation real quick. She goes up just a teeny tiny bit. She goes back a couple of clicks. If you go all the way back, then you can spin it all the way around, pretty much. And it's the exact same on her other foot. I've already tried it. This one was extremely tight, and I almost felt like it was going to break just to get the boot cut to work. But this one works a lot better. It's still tight, but she has a double jointed knee. She cannot go all the way up unless you cheat a little bit and do a couple of clicks with her back of her shoe. She almost, I mean, if you move her leg up, you can kind of make it touch. And then, let's see, she's got swivels at the thighs. And this belt, this piece with her belt and her skirt were way, way up there. You couldn't even see this joint. I didn't even know if she had a joint. I had to pull it down dramatically just to get it to where you could see it. But she does have a joint there, and it does move back and forth, as you can see. Plus, she's got that articulation where you can go all the way around at the torso and swivel around. So you can get a little bit of motion going back. You get a little bit of motion going up. And then, of course, as always, this is always frustrating because in order to put her joint all the way up to a T, you got to go downwards, then twist it around. Same way with this one normally, but I'd already done it a couple times, so I loosened it up. And she's got the butterfly joints, which you think would help her dramatically, especially with the bow and arrow. But since I haven't really figured out how to do the bow and arrow yet, I don't know. But she's got articulation at the elbows, swivel both all the way around. And go up 90 degrees on both sides, basically. This one a little bit more. This one a little bit less for some reason. This one, like I said, is supposed to go up and down, but it's so tight it doesn't actually do anything. This one will go in and out, and it is very stiff as well. Her head articulation moves side to side. The ball peg is so big that she can't really move. I mean, she can move up and down a little bit, as you can tell, but that's about it. And that's it for articulation. She's somewhat warped a little bit leg-wise in the package. This thing right here is part of this piece, all part of the rubber, as you can see on the inside. It is pink. There's some paint slop right there. There's extra paint goop. It's very shiny and is very. There's just a lot of paint work issues right there. There's on the top of her belt. It is not painted all the way. You can see pink up there, and it's a little bit hard to see because of my lighting. It's no longer daytime, but I would have to paint like the silver part of the belt buckle to get it all the way around because it's not painted. The black isn't painted all the way over here, and there's just pink all over the place up there. And she also has white paint on her thigh that I tried to rub off. I can't really get it off. Yeah, so she's got several paint issues. I haven't had that many paint issues on any figure. Ugh. I thought this was glued down. Just moving it around, because when I did my last review, this did not move at all. I said it was glued down. I guess the paint just dried and made it feel like it was glued down. But now it's sticking out. And I'm pretty sure at the beginning of the review, it was not. But now that I moved it around a lot. But let's see what it looks like on the packaging real quick. It does look like it's not touching her skirt, but it is very much downwards where it should be, like if it was glued down and not sticking out like that, because it wasn't like that before. I think Tommy, the Green Ranger, I think his is, though. I did get that. I have not put this in her holster yet. Does it go this way? I'm assuming. Yeah, it shows it like that way in the picture. So, it doesn't make it go down any further. But you can tell with all that paint there, it was definitely stuck at one point to her costume. So, let's check out this gun real quick. It's got silver paint on this side. It's got silver paint on that side. So kudos to Hasbro. They actually painted both sides of the weapon. And thank you. You can put this gun in her hand. It looks pretty good like that. Kind of looks like a trigger finger, sort of. It probably looks better in this hand than it would in this hand, but we'll try it anyways. And it looks a lot like a phaser from Star Trek. Actually, it looks good in either hand, but it looks kind of more like this is a trigger finger on this side. All right, what else do we got here? We got a fisted hand. We got a karate chop. Both these have the up and down, the side-to-side movement, not the up and down. And the last thing we haven't shown is her, the actual head that comes on her. Not her non-civilian head, her, what do you call it, her helmeted head. And they both snap on and off pretty, well, let's see. Yeah, relatively easy. But that joint, you see how big that neck joint was, that swivel, but it really doesn't do a whole lot for this because the sculpt and this, because it's so tight around the ball that there just isn't any, there's not any room for that. But this is very polished white looking, very polished compared to the rest of the white is very matte. It's not shiny, except for on this, it's a little bit shiny. But, yeah, but the colors match pretty well enough, I guess. At least the whites do, and the overall, it just looks way better than the Legacy figure. The Legacy figures are very exaggerated, especially they look like superheroes, but these look like real people. And yeah, a lot of people are complaining this joint's kind of ugly. It is kind of ugly, but I don't know. With the civilian head, it doesn't look like Kimberly. It looks like more like Kimmy Gibbler, but it looks like a real person. So I could pose it with that but this one is very good too. This is much more probably accurate than the other head. But we'll try one more time with this bow and arrow, see if I can pull it off. Let's see if there's anything I can do to... I did not try the silver one before. In the other hand, silver arrow. Trying to get this... Okay, so... See, this would benefit from the up and down joint, because then I can move it up a little bit, and that would definitely benefit. And let's see if this one, yeah, this one fits in there pretty well. It did for a second. You guys probably can't see what I'm doing, but yeah, this joint, this fingers have just worn out. It's they're just not tight anymore. Not tight enough to hold anything anymore. Not really. There we go. Boom. That's about as close as I can get. Maybe I'll try it in the other hand. So I'm used to doing this in a certain way where you see my first reaction. It was like on my first review, as soon as I saw that this was an up and down joint, I was like, wow, finally. Okay, so I got this in between her fingers where the holes are, and now putting them together, just a matter of putting them together now, I guess. It is easier this way, but let's see. Maybe they got it like, there we go. So that's as close to, there we go. That looks much more realistic. I'll even take a picture of that maybe to, does it even do that on this? Trying to get a screenshot there. I have to wait till the video is actually a video and not just recording. But there we go. That's about as close as you can get it, or at least that I could get it so far today. But I'll be working on it some more, and when I do my review over the Green Ranger and the putty, then I'll add that. I'll add her to it, and yeah, because I've been trying to knock this one out for quite a while now, and just things have just been coming up, and I just haven't had time to do it. But it's not the best pose, but you know, from this angle at least, it looks realistic. It looks kind of, or at least like this angle, definitely looks like she's doing something. And if you're wondering, I mean, she could sit down. The skirt doesn't get in the way because it does have a split there. And it's very, it's pretty thin on both sides. It was just really high up when I, in the packaging, because you couldn't even tell that she had a joint down there. So, let's see if I can get her into a decent pose here. There we go. This table's not entirely sturdy or steady, but let's see. I'm certain. Yeah, but she is very poseable. It's just a real pain in the butt trying to get these, you know, the bow and arrow to work in her favor. So you might have to maybe use that rubber band that keeps her arms in the package. Maybe use that rubber band to like, because it's clear and everything. Maybe use that rubber band for this, you know, to keep their bow in her hand or arrow in her hand, something like that. Alright guys, so that's my review of Kimberly the Pink Power Ranger, and overall, man, one thing, she's only like 5'1" or 5'2". I've heard people say they're going to be using this body for the Yellow Ranger. The Yellow Ranger, or at least from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, she's about 5'5" or 5'6". I've even heard people say that Amy Jo Johnson's only 5 foot tall. So if she's only 5 feet tall and Trini is like 5'6", then she's half a foot taller. So they would have to make probably her legs longer, or maybe more in the torso section, but something would have to be different because they're not the same size. She's definitely shorter by at least 3 to 5 inches, and that warping seems to benefit the Pink Ranger right now because of it makes her easier to stand. Alright guys, so that's it for Kimberly, and the next review will probably be the Green Ranger and the putty, and then maybe I'll do some, what do you call that, the stop animation. I put a little bit of stop animation in one of my videos with the I think the Magnet Defender or something, and yeah, so I might start doing that because that's kind of what I wanted to do on YouTube when I wanted. They're not going to be great, they're not going to be awesome. I mean, well, they're just going to be, I'll just be starting out basically. So at least I got some editors that can help a little bit. So I guess I'll see you guys on the next review. this is pretty much it for now. There's nothing new coming out really, or at least for a while. The 2-pack from STCC will be coming out in a couple of weeks, and you can order it online. But Goldar is already out. Yeah, that's how long it took me to shoot this review. Goldar is actually shipping. Started shipping August 10th or something, August 6th, somewhere around there. And I don't really need or want him that much, but maybe just to complete the collection. But as far as I'm concerned right now, I have the whole collection because I don't consider the exclusive because I don't know. There's some Psycho Rangers coming out. The red Psycho Ranger 2-pack. There's a blue Psycho Ranger coming out individually. I even got a few extra Shadow Rangers because mine didn't have a perfect paint job. And they kind of remind me of Stormtroopers, like Stormtroopers for Power Rangers. And I kind of do my own thing, like my own little world for Power Rangers because the TV show is very cheesy and very kid-friendly. It's very kiddie. They look like Muppets, the bad guys do. So they look like stuffed animals, and they're just, yeah. So, but the action figures are cool. So I love the action figures. I keep collecting them. I hope they make a Yellow Ranger soon to go with the pink one. We already got the red one and the green one. Technically, in a way, they're already out, but they got armor on them. So they're just going to take that armor off and then release them, regularly. And, yeah, so I'm excited to do the green review, the Green Ranger review, and the putty. So I'll be doing that next. And I'll see you guys on the next video. I'll probably do put up some toy hunts, too, pretty soon in between. And check out my other channel that's also collecting and hobbies without the Star Wars in front of it. And I normally put a comment like in the bottom. And I basically put the same kind of content on that channel too. So I can put out more content. And I'll see you guys on the next review.